Missionaries of the Poor is to live out the Beatitudes, not to just preach it, but to live it out, the works of mercy, and a brotherhood, because that's what is really required to do these works.
Father Holong, in the Spirit of the Lord seizing upon him, began a movement of grace towards the ghettos of Kingston. And in those early days, I was at St. George's College, a Jesuit school, just bordering on the ghettos, and he began to challenge us to go out.
Father Founder always saw himself as a Christian, a Catholic priest, a man of God, you know, a witness to the gospel, and he never deviated from that vision of bringing down the gospel and its values to bear on the poverty of the poor.
Christ himself told us, you know, to cast out into the deep, go into the highways and the byways where the rejected ones are, work among the blind, the deaf, the mute, the forgotten ones, where there's total disregard for life, and present to people the sufferings of people, or the suffering Christ, which I saw in the ghettos. In the ghettos, you found the wounded Christ, or the wounded body of Christ. And I felt I wanted to be there to touch it, to see it, to feel it, and to be with the suffering ones.
And this dynamic of being present among the poor is what in the early days helped us to realize that we had to live among the poor to be poor and to really bring the good news.
The principle we went by is the principle of Christ's action. He went to the darkest place, to the most forgotten and the rejected of people. So we went to the place that we know was filled with the most rejected of people.
So there is that definite outreach to the physical and social needs, but with always the message of the gospel. It is never simply social work. It is always with the message of Christ, who fed the multitudes, who healed the sick, and who gave hope to people who were struggling.
As missionaries of the poor in the early days, we clearly felt that there was need for Christ's presence to be among the poor, to go into the darkest hovels, the darkest corners of the island where we started.
It started out us being here to take care of women that were pregnant, that were either thinking of aborting their child or living on the street. But since then, since 2011, it has evolved. I think what we're all about is life. Life, yes, the unborn child. We take care now of disabled children, and we take care of also, not necessarily elderly women, but women that are in need of care, either because they're physically and mentally disabled, that they've been discarded.
And so these sisters, Missionaries of the Poor Sisters, were founded for that purpose, to handle so many questions that have to do with women and their struggles.